Join me in introducing Liz Goll Lerner. She is a renowned psychotherapist for over 40 years in the sector of betterment and relationships. We have shared a few stages together. She is an incredible speaker. She has spoken on the best of summits. We all had an incredible experience last weekend speaking, and she blew the room away. She is not only an incredible speaker, but she is an international bestseller, and she's all about I'm okay now. I love that. I'm okay now. The topic that she's going to have conversations with is how to have high stake conversations from the bedroom to the boardroom. All right. We are on a vibe. We are on a vibe today.
Woo!
All right. So the thing you may not know about her is that she always loves to be barefoot. And the music that she's listening to right now is Odds Are by Bare Naked Ladies. And what you are all going to receive as a gift today is her video, step one from her quantum presence technique that will bring you right into the present moment. And the second gift for one lucky person is a private archetype session. And, oh, I love this, and a bouquet of flowers. So if you are the lucky winner of what she's going to share today, isn't that awesome? Like, that's so awesome, right? Someone did that yesterday as well. I think it was Melissa Heathers gave someone, her thing was $100 gift certificate. Like, go treat yourself. I love flowers. Okay, so Miss Liz Goll Lerner, welcome to the 262 stage.
Well, thank you. What an awesome introduction. And it is always so much fun. So I am so excited to be talking about high stakes conversations from the bedroom to the boardroom because they happen all the time, right? They happen all the time in our lives. And we don't think of them always as high stakes conversations. But so let's think together. When was the last time you had a conversation that felt high stakes, either emotionally or in your work or with your partner or with your child if you have children in your life? Like, just raise your hand if you can think of one conversation that, just had a little oomph to it. So that's almost everybody. So a high stakes conversation is one where there's something important to you being discussed, right? Where there's an outcome you hope for, or something you might be afraid to say because of the potential outcome. It happens every day. There are ones we think are little, and then the really big ones that make us sweat to even think about. And when we start sweating, we stop thinking. So we think, but our emotional brain is the one that's taking over, right? Our frontal lobe, that strategic part of our brain, goes offline. So we think, but we're kind of not present in the way that brings head and heart together. So it comes down to the how, right? The how and the what. What's the goal? What is it that we really want to accomplish in those conversations? Is it, depending on the situation, is it a raise? Is it fixing a problem in a relationship with a friend or a partner? Is it saying something that's bothering you, but you're really concerned, you're really afraid to say it? Is it a problem with a business partner? Is it communicating with a child? Again, if you have little people hanging around. Um, you know, is success reaching the goal? Maybe, but I think it's more than that. I think it's feeling comfortable simply in your truth and recognizing, when we can be comfortable, we can be thinking, we can be really present to the moment. And that way, you're able to collaborate. You're able to compromise, maybe, or simply state your truth. And most important, really recognize whether the person you're speaking with can hear you. Is it being at one with ourselves that really makes a difference? I think so. I know it does for me. If I'm worried about what's going to happen, it's really hard to set myself up for success because then I'm only thinking about the worry or I'm thinking about what's going to happen. I'm in the emotional part of my brain and I'm not really thinking straight. So I'm not really present. I'm not really present with you if I'm speaking with you. I'm still sitting there. I look like I'm here. I am here, by the way, guys. Um, I look like I'm in the conversation, but my head is in a lot of different places. And it's really hard when feelings are running high to stay in the conversation fully. So has that ever happened to you? It's funny, I think it happens to people a lot in different kinds of conversations, right? Especially the ones we might consider low stakes. So maybe not the emotional part, but the distracted part. We live in a distracted society. Think about our phones pinging all the time. I haven't yet figured out how to close off my announcements or whatever they're called. Um, there's so much going on. Are we sitting in a conversation going through the shopping list? I kind of think about what Natalie was talking about with all of the things, and we really do need to kind of take a breath and slow it all down. Um, you know, we think we can multitask. We think we can do all these things at once, but actually, the brain can only do one thing well at a time. And by the way, if you're working on something and focusing on something and you get distracted, it takes 15 minutes to come back. Okay, just little factoid there. Um, so when you're listening to a friend or not, when they're talking about their day or their problem, and you're really thinking about your shopping list, that's when you create complicated conversations, right? So let's say we're distracted because of something else. So if I'm with a friend and we had a conversation last week and there was something that upset me, but I didn't say anything. And I come back to the conversation and it's still bothering me. Am I in the conversation? Which conversation am I in? Am I in last week's conversation or am I in this week's conversation? And actually, I'm probably in last week's conversation and I'm probably hanging out with this person responding as if I'm there. Or I've really got it down and I'm acting like nothing's wrong, but really there is something wrong. So I haven't cleared the space. And so that's another problem, right? That creates another high stakes conversation. So what do I want to do about that? I want to hopefully say, hey, you know, when we were together last time, my feelings were really hurt or whatever the problem was. And I really wanted to talk about it or bring it up so it didn't interfere with us, with our relationship going forward. So that takes courage. It takes bravery. It takes, a little thought maybe, but um, you find out a lot. Usually there's a really good outcome to something like that. But if it's not a good outcome, you've learned something about the person and you've learned something about the friendship, and then you've got decisions to make about what's really good for you, right? So if the strategic part of your brain or my brain or anybody's brain is not fully engaged, and I'm in an important conversation, not only am I not thinking clearly, I'm not listening. So if I'm not listening, I'm not prepared to answer a question or think about what I want to do next or where this conversation is going or what I'm going to do. I'm in either my emotional life and I'm worried and I'm thinking about that. And so I'm not present in the moment, which is why my gift to everyone is the first step of my quantum presence technique, because it will get you in the moment. With a little practice, you can do it very quickly, if you do it every day. Really, get up and do it. Go to sleep, and before you go to sleep, do it. Um, so let me kind of hone it in a little bit. Um, what's really important are three things. how do you know if you're really present in your conversation? So that's something to be curious about, right? What are you actually doing? Is your mind wandering? Are you there? Are you listening? Do you know what that conversation you want that to be? If it's something that you're actually going to do. I mean, we have conversations every day, right? How do you prepare if it is an important conversation? What are the steps? What are you thinking about if it goes awry? Like, what's your preparation if it's something that's really important to you? How do you know when to pause and come back? Say, oh, I just need to take a breath. I need to take in what you were saying so I really understand and get yourself back, right? Or, you know, it seems like we're not really communicating. Maybe we need to take a break and kind of reset or do a little active listening. Oh, I hear you say da 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 da. Did I hear you correctly? So you takes the pace down a lot. Those are just a few things to help you stay present. You're going to have to kind of figure out the situation. But, you know, we change multiple people's lives every day by low stakes conversations. If we go into the grocery store and we're nice to the person at the checkout, that changes probably the next 50 people who walk into that store. If we say something nice to the bus driver, if we take buses, it changes everything because there was that other person that was really not nice, right? So there's a ripple effect. It's a service in a way to be really conscious about what we're saying and what we're doing. But the real clincher is the basis for all our conversations is the conversations we have with ourselves. So even, you know, if we're not doing well, and we might not do well with that checkout person. If we're giving ourselves a hard time and those bad days people say they have, right? We can change the world based on those conversations. It's time to evaluate what's happening in your head, right? In all of our heads. Is it the negative? Is it the worried? Is it the self-critical? Is it, you know, if that's where we start, then it's really important to recognize that most of those thoughts aren't true. We've had them for so long that we think they belong to us. We think that they are our identity if we're having them. But actually, we didn't start out with those thoughts. We weren't born with those thoughts. Somebody said something someday, a teacher, a kid, a parent, a random person that made us have some belief about ourselves. And all of a sudden it became real. So my suggestion is, for example, I've done, all of us, we've done a lot of studying, we've done a lot of, you know, um, learning and teaching and all of this stuff. But it's your own experience that makes this real, right? And I have definitely had that experience of starting to question, what that belief is. And when I really looked, and so my suggestion is when you really look and you really listen to what you're saying, be curious because where did that thought originate? Who did it originate with? Do you agree with it? Do you want it in your life? A lot of times we kind of say no. I don't really agree with that. I don't really think that's who I am. And when that happens, you're free of it. You get to choose, right? You may have to do some work on it, but you get to choose. And if you do see something in it that is you, that's something you don't feel comfortable with, then figure out what to do. Heal it, change it, find a road to work with it because you do have choice. And even when something is a challenge, it's only a challenge depending on how we think about it. So go, be free and communicate well and be present in the moment.
Oh my
Have
goodness.
fun.
That was amazing. I don't know. Are you finished? Because I want
I'm
to.
done. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, no, look at there's that 5 second thing that I've been hearing from this morning. Um, that was that was so beautiful. It was almost poetic, right? It was
Oh, thank
almost
you.
poetic, and I loved, early on you said, "Can the person hear you?" I think that's, and I think we all know what you mean by that, right? Like, are you talking their language? Are
Yeah,
you being respectful in the conversation? Are you checking in? And also, sometimes when we have something that we're angst about that we want to get out, we're so focused about getting it out and having that conversation, we might not be picking the right time. Do you know
right,
what I mean? Like,
right,
what's the right time?
right.
Doing that check-in, and so that they can, or even asking, right? Hey, what did you think I just said there?
Yeah,
What do you think that I just said there?
yeah,
So,
because sometimes people are on such a different wavelength that
mhm,
they're not, there's our part in it, but there's also really reading the room. And it's can that person really get it, whatever it is that we're trying to share? And
mhm,
it's really important to know if it appears that they cannot, because if they can't, at least not yet, it may be finding a different way to, if it's important that they do understand in some way, whatever it is you're trying to communicate, that there you find a way that's in their thought process or their language where they can understand you, or you may be knocking on a door that is never going to open. And that's really important to know too, right?
well,
There
yeah,
was a
you're talking
wonderful
about.
woman named Patricia Sun. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of her. Ages ago, 100 years ago, and she had this thing about, stop trying to find a door in a wall. Stop knocking on that door and trying to push it open. And it was just revelatory.
No, absolutely. I loved, did I hear you correctly? I love that too. That was a really great, because you're talking boardroom to bedroom. Those things are
Yeah,
very big. If you're having conversations with colleagues or people you're
yeah,
going to do business with, or did I hear the correct thing?
yeah.
There was so much there, high stakes, and communication is high stake,
Hmm.
right? Or if you are focused on one certain income or one certain outcome, it almost takes off the table that there could be something even more beautiful come from the conversation.
Exactly.
You're wired into, okay, I want to make sure that everything's okay between us, or blah, 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 or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Leslie, your thoughts.
Hey Liz, how are you doing?
Hey, Leslie. It's
Yeah,
nice to see you.
you too. Such great stuff. And it's so funny, right? I was looking back over the day because by now it seems like it's been very long, but really we started out on communication
Yeah.
and then have taken this big long journey and we end up at communication. Super fascinating, right? Um, Yeah, I just think Liz made so many great points for us to consider whatever we're communicating and whoever we're communicating with, as well as that idea of our own internal communication, right?
Mm,
Being really wired into that
mhm,
before we even have the outside
mhm.
conversations.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I would imagine, Liz, 40 years of being a psychotherapist, you've been able to see many communication styles
Yeah.
and how to navigate that, right? Because um, like you said, talking to ourselves. I love the example that, if we're talking not kind to ourselves, and then we're at a cashier, and she's taking longer, or the person before you's like
Hmm.
not brought their bags, or is complaining about buying a bag because now you have to buy bags, and all of that. I could imagine the rise wouldn't be like, oh, have a nice day. Thanks for serving me, and how you talked about how it really can change
Yeah.
the
I
impact.
think, we'll probably talk about this a little bit later, when we talk about my book, but emotional reactivity is is a thing, right? People um tend to, unless they're, like all of us, very evolved, um, to get triggered and then it just shows up. And the, the dance is really to recognize that that happens. And it's something I call the first stop on the bus, right? Like when we're triggered, it's that first neural pathway that we learned somewhere along the line. And then it's what's the next one? Like where are we really going? And what are we trying to create? And I think, it's the psychotherapy and the coaching. I think that pulling that all together is it's so instructive. And then when you see it in yourself, right? Because we are all learning, we're all growing. I mean, I think that, everything that I've created because I've experienced something, right?
Mhm.
Some pain, some challenge, some, innovation, some learning that, was critical to moving to some next place in living better, being okay, you know?
Yeah, being okay. I mean, as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, as a mom, as a friend,
Right.
as what have you, I mean, I think a lot of us talk to people, get coaching, get counsel, get help with whatever is going on inside so that it shows up on the outside very differently. One of those majorly showing up in the relationships, being healthy in our life and vibing and attracting healthy relationships based on the work that we're doing on the inside. And what you're really talking about is a lot of self-observation, catching yourself and hearing what you're saying and what you're thinking. I mean, that's
So that you
curated.
can be there, right? So you can really show up in your life and experience it. If we're all
Mhm,
in our heads, we're not
mhm,
really experiencing what we're doing. We're thinking about it.
mhm, mhm.
Right?
Well, let's get somebody a bouquet of flowers. How about we do that? Now, here's my, how, Natalie gave us 3 things to do. So I'm going to throw the cherry on the sundae. And if you are not the person that is going to get a bouquet of flowers from Liz today, how about you do this? How about you buy yourself some flowers? How about you step into your abundance? You know what I mean? Thank you, Amanda. And take Natalie's suggestion and go buy yourself flowers. And I'm going to throw an extra piece in there. Don't look at the price. How many times have you gone to a menu and you look at the right-hand side before the left-hand side? How many
Yeah.
times have you gone to look? There's a beautiful flower shop up the street. And sometimes their peonies are like super expensive. And I go through this dialogue like, well, I'll buy the daisies and whatever. Sometimes I buy the daisies because that's where I'm at. And sometimes I buy the peonies because that's where I'm at. So don't look at the price. Go buy yourself some flowers. Feel good. And we're going to do this final contest, their final draw. So everybody get ready. You need to put your email and you need to put the answer to that email. And if you see it, don't be afraid. Keep putting it because women have been winning prizes all weekend long. Okay. And you can only win one big. You just take your digital swag to everything else. Now, she said this word twice and she talked about how when we're not taking care of ourselves on the inside with our words and how we're talking to ourselves, how it can show up on the outside. And there was 2 examples she gave. One was the cashier at the store. The other one was because they're ding, ding. So put that in the email. We're ding dinging now. 2 days of fun and we're dinging. So you know what I mean? The wheels on them go round and round. All right. Okay. So for those of you that have no kids, don't worry
Getting a
about that.
little punchy now.
Little punchy. We're a little punchy. Okay. Look, let's get punchy. Let's change the energy. Let's flip to fun because we are going to have a book launch and we are going to wrap this party with the celebration of women in print. Are we ready to go, Liz? Are you ready to go with your book
Yeah,
launch?
let's do it.
Okay. Yeah, we were going to do a little break and she was going to get dressed.
I
But
was
she's going
gonna
to be
look,
getting dressed for dinner tonight.
more
She's going to be getting
fun,
ready to go. She
put a
wants to
little
go to
better
my
jewelry on, but hey, let's just go
All
for
right,
it.
so let's do this. Do you have a copy of your book?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
It
So
is
let's talk
right
about,
here,
all right, look at Divorce Well
but
and
it's
Thrive.
backward.
For all of you in
Your
Vancouver, we
guide to
didn't talk
being
about the swag. We didn't talk about the swag, but that's in everyone's swag.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Your
tell
guide to
us,
being your best self under the worst circumstances.
right? I mean, when you and even when you're reading it, if you haven't experienced it, divorce, or you're not going through one, I think the skills in the book are about when you're going through something that might be unexpected and not fun. Like, and divorce doesn't necessarily have to be the person that you're with. It could be a business partner. It could be that. There's elements of that, right? There's elements of that that you can find. Some of us, as we go to the next level, I mean, you talked about that, Amanda, going to the next level. Sometimes it's not a official divorce, but it's a separation of circle,
Mhm.
right? Ooh, that's a good one. Nice reframe. Separation of circle. And there's some things in the book that are going to help you with that. So, what was it, Liz, about the book that made you want to share? What was
Like,
it
why did
about?
I write it? Is that what you
Yeah.
mean? So there are a bunch of things. Um, One, that like the really positive part is what's possible, right?
Mm.
Being okay, having a sustainable plan, creating a new life, removing constant stress, regaining psychic energy, being able to control the narrative, right? Learning how to remember who you are, finding strengths you didn't know you have. Doing things well changes every relationship anybody has, right? Doing something that's hard, like changing a relationship, creates different skills, new ways, right? But so the other reasons that I wrote the book are I saw so much residual pain in people from their parents' divorces, their own divorces, their stories of divorces, the culture of divorce. And when I really saw it was when we had my former husband and I had a separation party. And what was so fascinating to me was that, and it was a wonderful party and it was a positive thing, it was a transformational thing. And I can read a little section about it if we have time. But everybody thought it was a joke.
Mm.
Nobody could believe that it was possible to do anything positive in the area of divorce that I knew. People were calling me up, my friends who I didn't even know that their parents had divorces or their, people. I was doing hours and hours of conversations with people who had these terrible experiences. So it seemed to me that since I had a way to not have it be that way, that people should know about it. And I had some therapists really encourage me to do it because no child should go through something they don't have to go through. And adults being toxic, is not the gift you want to give your child, right? If you have them. Um, so those are the
Yeah.
main reasons.
Well, I think it's even almost a new concept about divorcing well.
Yeah.
And I know that you also address in the book because, you could hear it as soon as you say it. When you speak, it's like, yeah, well, one person wants to divorce well and one doesn't. And there's that kind of thing. And you can divorce well within that. I mean, you can divorce
Yeah. So
well within the non-participating other well.
yeah, this in this method and what I've written about, the other person doesn't have to participate in being nice. You part and the method that I'm giving to everyone today is a piece of that. Like it's a foundational piece that helps you decide what your vision is. Well, the technique itself isn't going to help you decide what the vision is, but it's your job to decide what your vision is. And then that will guide you to living and being a certain way. If you want something to turn out a certain way, you have to be able to see it. You have to be able to believe in it. And then if you believe in it, you can make sure that you hold your tongue in a moment where you might not, where you might have stayed in the cycle of problem conversations, right? Because you can see what you want to have happen. For me, it was my child. For me, I didn't want my kid to go through any really terrible stuff. So I had a vision. I held on to it. When there was a moment where I could have had a fight, I chose not to fight. it changed the dynamic, like putting a pebble in a still pond. The ripples continue and continue and continue. So it's not that it's going to be perfection if somebody doesn't want to play nice, but it certainly isn't going to be as treacherous as it could be.
Yeah. You talked a little bit earlier a bit, and I don't know if it's the same chapter, but is there a chapter that you absolutely loved? I know you talked about the separation party, and what a concept, right? I mean, I had never heard that before. I
So,
had heard of after parties where one of the party people are like, I'm inviting all my friends over, thank you for helping, but I never heard of that. So is there anything in your book that you want to highlight or read or favorite chapter of yours?
yeah, I'd like to read a couple of little parts from that, from the introduction,
Yeah.
because um, I think that, you know, when people think about separation parties, a lot of times they think about what you were just, saying, oh, yay, I'm done with this. And for me, this was a strategy. Strategy is not a dirty word. Strategy is, and that's a chapter in the book, actually. But strategy is, what gets us through the day. We get up in the morning and we have a strategy about how, like, I don't remember who was talking about. I think it was Stephanie about, not working until 10 because her strategy was to do what she needed to do to be really successful in the day. This was an idea that would inform our whole community how we were doing this. So nobody could place their story on us, their idea of divorce, their idea of things not working out, their idea of fighting. It was a collaborative, transformational experience. And so I'll read you the invitation because I think the invitation really says it all. Um, Liz and Howard have decided to untie the knot. Join us to celebrate our reformed family and launch the journey as we embark on the new roads ahead and enter this new phase of life for our family and ourselves. Right? Laid it right out. Right? People were either going to play with us or they weren't. We had about 80 people at that party,
Wow.
60, 80, I can't remember. And it was really a conversation starter because people were like, is this awake? No, it's not awake. It's a celebration of transformation, right? Now, look, obviously things weren't perfect. We were getting divorced,
Yeah, I think
right?
that's the question people probably ask you, like, oh, you didn't go
Yeah,
through, but you did.
yeah, like things were not rosy, right? But we were committed, or I was committed initially, and then we were both committed to our child not suffering. So that's a big vision that takes people somewhere. But, you know, when it's like I said earlier, there are challenges that can be horrible, but they don't have to be horrible if you handle them in a different way. How you view it makes a difference. And it's not easy. I mean, really, it is not easy. Even in the best of circumstances, it isn't easy because it's challenging because people are hurt, people are angry, people don't like what's going on. But that can happen in a friendship, and it can happen in a marriage, and it can happen with children, it can happen with anybody. And so being able to step back and go, what do I really want here? How do I really want this to look? What do I want to be after? How do I want my life to be? Am I going to do stuff now that's going to really mess me up later? No. We hope the answer is no, right? Because we can create anything we want as long as we decide to, as long as we can see it. And that doesn't mean the road, it goes, a nice, little picking flowers on the path all the time. But
Mhm.
it's possible with that kind of with just having a vision and being and getting support. Like the whole book is really soup to nuts, right? It's if you're thinking about it, what are you thinking? So, the first part is so you think you want to get a divorce. The next part is so you've decided to get a divorce. The next part is so what's your life? How are you creating your life? What are you going to do in lots of different situations? What kind of help are you getting? What kind of decisions are you making? How are you doing that? It's a roadmap for doing
Mm,
this differently, basically. And it's simple and it's short and it's readable so that people can actually do it.
right. And what a great, I mean, when I think about, I mean, I had that experience in transition and it was many years ago. And I think about how just people are so more open to talk about that and to have different opportunities. I mean, there's things like mediation, which wasn't before, and all the things, and how, what a great gift, really, if there's someone that's thinking of, right? Because many times it just happens so fast. You think about it by yourself and then something breaks something breaks
You
and then
know,
it becomes very fueled. But when you talked about strategy, some people are like, well, but you probably are strategizing anyways. You're thinking, what
right.
if,
And
what if?
then really the other part of why this was written is that I saw so many people not strategizing. They would be angry, they would be hurt, and then they would go do something, and then they would ruin their lives because they didn't think about the financials, or they didn't make a plan, or they didn't set themselves up to be okay.
Mm,
And that's really important. I think the other part of this is that you were just saying something really important. Um, hmm, well, it'll come back.
so it goes, well, just people making rash decisions, right? And
Yeah.
how this
Yeah.
is something that, yay, we're
Oh,
talking about it. Yay, we're
but
talking. We wrote about a topic that some people do more like this with.
yeah.
And let's face it, I mean, Amanda gave us some pretty shocking statistics. This
Hmm.
is not, the odd person on the street, right? This isn't like the occasional experience that happens. And I think
Right.
the more that help is available and access is available, and we know about accessibility, then it's better minded, right?
Right.
So more information creates you to be better minded. And I'm sure that plays out in the whole situation of the unraveling, the uncoupling, the best friend, the business, the boss, the husband, the
Yeah,
wife.
and that's all in here too. I mean, I think the other piece that is in here that is not in most books like this is how to actually not ruin your relationship. In other words, like what can you do in your communication that actually keeps it flourishing? In that
Mm,
whole first part of the book, it's like maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you just don't know how to communicate, and you need to be able to communicate to actually figure out instead of all that fluff that got built onto stuff you never really talked about, just have a conversation.
mm.
Learn how to be nice.
Learn how to be nice.
You know?
I wanted to read because I know that this is your book launch, and there was one of your colleagues who wasn't able to make it,
Mm,
and she just wanted, we all know and love you in the 262, but you've done incredible work in the world, and not everybody takes these on. So first of all, congratulations for writing a book
thank you.
that is helpful like that, because sometimes people just they don't take things head on. So this is from a colleague, a lawyer and a fellow psychologist. Her name is Stephanie, and she says Liz works with clients of mine who are considering divorce, and it has been transformative. She's incredibly adept at helping clients hone in on the important issues and cut through the issues that are blocking them from change. Her focusing on divorcing well allows her clients to emerge from divorce with their self-esteem and relationship intact. And I think that's just really beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
the world needs it, right? So I don't know if there's anyone else here that is going to say a few words, but if they are, do you want to maybe bring them to the stage?
So Arlene, were you wanting to share?
Yay. Hi, Arlene. Oh, nice color of hair. Love it. So I think Desi will just have to, there you go.
Okay. So I've been this for over 40 years. It's both league and
Can't hear you, hon.
friend.
We can hear you a little bit, so maybe just turn it up a little bit.
Hold on.
All right.
How's that?
Perfect.
You know, turning the volume up helps a lot. I lived in the tech world. I should know this. Anyway, I've known Liz for over 40 years now, both as a colleague and as a friend. Her passion for helping others in relationships and yes, breakups. I got to pre-read her book. And as I read it, I thought this applies to anybody because like you've all sound like you've been talking about during this, we have all sorts of relationships with all sorts of different types of people. And, you know, to me, this is a core to who Liz is in her daily life. And as my friend, Liz is loyal, she's loving, and of course, she's helped me through a lot of difficult events in my life as well over all these years. And so it's always wonderful when we get to see each other in person. This is the closest we've come in a little while, but the friendship thrives because we care and it thrives through great distance.
Thank you,
So.
honey.
Oh, isn't it so lovely when you do something? Thank you for sharing, Arlene. It's so nice to hear another point of view in relationship to someone that you know. Liz, is there anyone else here that you want to call on?
Yeah, Robert, thank you for coming. A man who supports all of us.
Yay! Well, this whole project is for women and those that support women,
Mhm.
and I'm excited about.
I'm very glad to be here among you all, and I think I'm going to sound some themes that are now familiar, and you having heard Liz speak, I think this will be recognizable. Those of us fortunate enough to know Liz Goll Lerner, we know well that she operates professionally, personally, and in her writing as an active problem solver. Problem solving is a core part of her DNA. Liz supportively encourages those she interacts with to be active, to be evaluating, be choosing the path, rejecting passivity and paralysis. After clear-eyed option weighing, choosing well can have its strong rewards. And how should we evaluate choices? By looking through the lens of being your best self for yourself and others too. As in Divorce Well and Thrive, Liz urges us repeatedly towards our best selves, never shying away from conflict or pain, but embracing these productively. For Liz, in all parts of her life, this orientation is towards resilience, recovery, and forward motion. Most importantly, while helping us to see more clearly, as a reader, a client, a friend, Liz always leads with kindness and a big heart. Clear thinking through best options, but always in the context of best human relating. Her consistency on this front is unusual and remarkable.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, clap.
Okay, easy to say all that after listening to you talk, even just for the few minutes I've been on this call.
Oh my goodness.
And the book is great. The book is great. It's practical. It's wise. It's just great.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
writing
you for
an
allowing me to
Amazon
speak.
review. I love my Amazon reviews. But
Absolutely.
thank you so much for saying all those wonderful things, both of you.
Wow. Well, look at that. You have very good friends, Liz, and no surprise to anyone. And you have many here as well. Liz, is there anything more that you want to say about your book or any final words? I mean, please do tell us where to get your book. And obviously reviews are welcomed.
Yes, please.
yeah.
So Amazon, Barnes and Noble, I'm getting confused of
Ingram Sparks.
Ingram Spark and
Yes.
Balboa Press. And I think even though the book is called Divorce Well and Thrive, for anyone you know who's having questions in their relationship or wants to improve their relationship, it's a really great recommendation, if I do say so myself.
You wrote it.
Hey.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, soup to nuts, guys.
Soup to nuts. Well, let's do some clapping and some emojis and some reactions. And we're so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you guys for coming and speaking about me, and you guys for listening.
Absolutely.